National Party, the opposition party, says it plans to revolutionize the process towards land ownership if it gets the keys to Jamaica House after the next election. Lothan Cousins, the Member of Parliament for South West Clarendon, outlined in his contribution to the sectoral debate the PNP's land ownership reform plans, which proposes to make thousands of Jamaicans who now squat on Crown lands the legal, lawful owners of those properties with the title to prove. Cousins also outlined the PNP steps towards house ownership in other areas and how the PNP plans to stop the withdrawal from the NHT and put that money back into service for the NHT to do what it's supposed to do at its core, which is to build houses for low-income earners. He also spoke about the very ambitious plan of building 80,000 houses over the next 5 years after the PNP gets in office. He joins me today to put some details into what on paper looks to be a very ambitious, but if successful, a necessary plan of action for the people of Jamaica. This is Lead Story on this Wednesday. Let's start the show. So Lothan Cousins is the Shadow Minister in charge of land, and on Tuesday he spoke in the sectoral debate outlining a very ambitious set of proposals where land ownership is concerned and what the PNP is doing to revolutionize the process towards home ownership. As I said to you, having read through the entire presentation, it is very ambitious, and if any administration, the PNP, is successful in getting that done, then significantly a lot of people will find themselves in a better position for the policy being implemented successfully. Just before we go to him, though, of course, in case you missed the presentation in Parliament on Tuesday, we captured this bit for you.
The next People's National Party government has identified land and housing as a priority for national transformation. We begin from the principle that every Jamaican who desires to own a home should be facilitated to do so at all costs. Home ownership in the 21st century must be treated as a right, similar to education and health. Yes. The inability of thousands to own a home is rooted in the structural inequalities that govern Jamaican society. One essential step is to accept informality as a legitimate mode of urbanization. We must support and collaborate with those who are parceling land and constructing buildings in informal settlements rather than working against them.
Hear, hear.
I'll get to that soon. This will not be easy. It challenges our sense of order. However, in a society marked by profound structural informality and deep inequality, true social cohesion can only be achieved through dialogue and consultation with a clear framework of legal reform.
Hear, hear.
Such an approach will yield better results rather than a heavy-handed and punitive approach. Order in a democratic society comes from agreed norms, not from a big stick or a bulldozer. A future PNP government will take bold steps, including drawing inspiration from Dominica, as mentioned earlier. We will revisit the issue of government land and how persons who have been living on it for decades can benefit. We are not merely just giving it away, but a system must be designed to ensure that those in possession for an extended period be given an opportunity to legally acquire these lands. This is how we create an ownership society.
Hear, hear.
When we do this, we are not only building an ownership society, we are building national pride.
Yes,
we are building progress.
Yes.
We are building and creating opportunities for independence.
Yes.
And we are most importantly resolving the long-standing issue of security of tenure. Under the next PNP government, we are proposing the reduction of 60 years to 25 years.
Here, here.
Save and accept for land on the foreshore. We believe this is ample time for the government to ensure that protections are in place. A PNP government will move with alacrity to amend the Registration of Titles Act
Yes.
to provide for a shorter time frame for persons who have been living on government land to claim it. The same rules that apply to the private owner must be commensurate with those that apply to the government.
Okay.
Spokesman says commensurate, a word that means equal in every respect. After this break, we hear him articulate the path to the PNP's implementation of a highly ambitious set of plans where land reform is concerned. This is Lead Story.
Business is fast, easy, flexible, and costless. Oh, entrepreneurs, let's go digital. The Government of Jamaica and European Union presents Digital Jamaica Training Series. Learn how technology grows your business. Choose the right digital tool. Manage your staff, customers, and money digital. Data security and privacy. Artificial intelligence. We'll be in every parish. Apply online. www.jbdc.net. Log on fast. Digital Jamaica. Powering connectivity for MSMEs.
Millions of people are attacked by harmful mouth bacteria. The root cause of bad breath, gum problems, cavities, plaque, and tartar. That's why Colgate combined the best science and technology in Colgate Total. Unlike others, its superior formula fights bacteria and creates a powerful protective barrier for up to 24 hours to prevent them from coming back. Take control of your oral health with Colgate Total.
The internationally acclaimed On Stage with Winfred Williams.
At a new time, Saturdays at 8 p.m. on CVM TV.
So much more than entertainment.
Lothan Cousins is the Shadow Minister for Lands in the opposition PNP's Shadow Cabinet. He's the Member of Parliament for South West Clarendon, and he is an attorney at law and a man of football, I must add. Good evening, Mr. Cousins. Welcome to Lead Story.
Yes, good evening, George. Good evening to your listeners and viewers. Thank you for the opportunity to provide clarity on such an important subject matter.
Excellent. I read through the presentation. I listened to the first section, but I read it all 18 pages of it. And I came away thinking that this is very ambitious. And if this is in any part successful, you could retire a legend if under a PNP administration you're the man who implements this, because home ownership means so much to so many people. Let me start the discussion by with this question, and then we can look at the details of the PNP's proposal. How do you respond to those who say, here they go again, a PNP administration legitimizing squatting and the capturing of land by people?
Well, I start on the premise that the issue of squatting originated 192 years ago, George. In 1833, the Registration of Titles Act was enacted to prevent the newly freed labor force from being able to acquire land. And from that date until now, we have been restricting ownership of land to just a few. We sometimes forget the history of the development of the situation around squatting, or what we call squatting adverse possession in Jamaica.
Yes.
And the truth is that there has been grave injustice meted out to all of us in our families. I'm a country boy, born and raised in Clarendon, went to Glenmere. I know the issues firsthand. And so, having appreciation, a deep sense of an appreciation for the issue, I know exactly what this can mean for thousands of Jamaicans. And there are many Jamaicans out there who could not afford to own a piece of land, but they had to find somewhere to live. The family members and them in argument, they don't necessarily want to squat. But where are they going to go? In the sea? They have to take a piece of the land. And so the argument about promoting squatting, you know, the biggest hypocrisy, and if you read this speech, you would have heard it, that many of us, members of parliament, councillors from both sides of the political divide, over several decades, have acquiesced to it. Our utility companies have acquiesced to it. So what is there now to prevent us from making the bold move of transferring the titles into the hands of the people?
Yes. Let's start with a strand of your idea concerning urbanization and the fact that near every urban center in Jamaica, and you can look at the main ones, Kingston and St. Andrew and Montego Bay, and the quote-unquote informal communities that have sprung up. And as you said, they have a legitimate JPS connection. Flow and Digicel string run lines to their houses, so they legitimize the houses anyway. How do you propose to make the occupiers of these dwellings in these so-called informal settlements in or around urban centers, how do you propose to give them titles to the lands they occupy?
It's very straightforward. I mean, when we look at the research as of 2018, the age group 19 to 39, we have around 975,000 Jamaicans in that age group. Persons who are at the age of 25 who born and raised on a squatter land, some of them are now teachers, nurses, civil servants. Eh? So they're in a position to help their parents. But the truth is that at 60 years, if they are to wait until they're 60 years old to give their parents a title or help their parents to the land, the parents would perhaps have gone from this earth by then.
Yes.
So the aim is to empower this young generation of ambitious teachers, lawyers, doctors to help their parents. So when they get the title, they're in a better position to help their parents. They can use the title as security. That is why we are proposing to move to lower the statute limitation of action from 60 years to 25 years. And we did not pull that figure out of the sky. We have done our research. We know the target audience. We understand the issues. And we are ready to move. Within the first 100 days, we are ready to move.
Yeah. So let me refine the approach. So I gave you the example of a squatter settlement, informal settlement in Montego Bay, because the persons who live there work in the hotels or they work in the businesses in Montego Bay and they wanted to live nearby. There wasn't housing available, so they set up something. Several of them set up something and then they have a community. So you're saying that in that context, if there are 2 or 3 generations in that household and they would have been there for 30 years collectively, they can now go to a state agency, prove that they've been on the land for 30 years, and then unblock the pathway towards getting a title to that piece of land. Is that what you're saying?
So precisely. So they, as a right now, they can approach the courts. However, what we intend to do is to engage the Surveyors Association. We intend to engage the retired members of the judiciary for each parish, set up adjudication committees within the first 100 days for each parish, because, of course, each parish, as you highlighted earlier, have unique circumstances. You have the sugar workers who had to capture land. You have the tourism workers who had to capture land. Now, the problem is how do we put together a committee? We are going to ensure that a committee is established. That committee will review, a local JP will be on the committee. Once they have reviewed and they have come up with a report, then they present the report to the Commissioner of Lands, and the laws will be amended to make those reports from the Commission, chaired by a retired judge of the Supreme Court, binding on the Commissioner of Lands.
So apart from that group that you set up, well, can I call it quasi-judicial that you set up? Do you propose to set up any other kind of bureaucracy to facilitate this revolution the PNP is embarking on, or can the existing state agencies facilitate the change?
Well, we have various legislation available. Remember that these informal communities will now need modern infrastructure. So we have the Local Government Improvement Communities Amenities Act. And if you look at the case of 85 Redills Road, that was a very popular case in recent times, where this act was invoked to acquire the land in Redills and to put in the infrastructure in place.
Yes.
To facilitate those residents. So why can't we do this on a wider scale across the length and breadth of Jamaica?
Hold the point there, Lothan Cousins. I have to take a break and come back. This is Lead Story, discussing the PNP's approach to land ownership. The party says it will revolutionize the approach to land ownership for thousands of Jamaicans who currently live on captured government land. They say they will unblock the pathway towards legal home ownership, a title in your hand, and make people feel prideful about their living circumstances and prideful about the country in which they live. More after this break.
The gateway for Jamaica's athletes to several international competitions, including the World Athletics Championships in Tokyo, Japan, opens from Thursday, June 26 to Sunday, June 29 for the J3A Junior and Senior National Championships at the National Stadium, 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. each day. Admission, finish area season ticket, $8,000. Daily, $1,000 to $3,000. Regular grandstand season ticket, $6,500. Daily, $1,000 to $2,500. Tickets go on sale at MysticOnlineTix.com. Starting June 11, Pegasus Hotel and the Stadium Ticket Office. Starting Monday, June 23. The action will be sizzling.
Get ready for a powerful night of worship. Jesus All the Way, a fundraising worship encounter presented by the Jamaica Seventh-day Baptist Conference of Churches on Sunday, June 29, Randy Williams Entertainment Center, featuring Kevin Downswell, Rhoda Isabella, Alicia Taylor, Kevin Heath, Nadine Blair, and Perpetual Sounds of Praise. Gates open at 4 p.m. Showtime 6 p.m. Tickets available at SpurOpen.com. Jesus All the Way, a worship encounter with a purpose. Sunday, June 29, Randy Williams Entertainment Center, powered by Stuart Soto, Love FM, Mellow FM, Gospel JA, and CVM TV.
At Hawkeye, we work hard to develop state-of-the-art security solutions like our new Total Connect smart home automation system that gives you 24/7 access to control your appliances, lights, cameras, and doors using your smartphone, tablet, or PC. As the most trusted electronic security company in Jamaica, Hawkeye has the fastest response times to get to you when you need us most. Trust Hawkeye's Total Connect. Hawkeye, securing what matters most.
Lothan Cousins is the opposition spokesman on land. He's an attorney at law and he's the Member of Parliament for Southwest St. Catherine, talking about the PNP's plan for land ownership, the revolutionization of the process if the PNP forms the next government. One of the eye-catching things from your presentation in the Parliament on Tuesday, Lothan, was that commitment that the next PNP government will proceed to build 80,000 housing units in 5 years. How?
Well, George, let me correct you. You said Southwest St. Catherine.
Southwest Clarendon, beg your pardon. Southwest St. Catherine is everyone Warmington. There you go.
Yes, well, the housing plan.
Yes.
It's quite straightforward. I mean, we're ending the extraction of the over $11 billion per year. I will raise a very important point with you here. That the last time a member of Parliament from my constituency, Southwestern Clarendon, was the Minister of Housing, we had a radical decade of housing and proliferation of housing construction. He was O.D. Ramtali.
Yes.
He was the one responsible for Greater Portmore. Right? And so we have the concept from Greater Portmore. We have done it before. We have done it time and time again. The plan is to ensure that we build starter homes, not 3-bedroom and 4-bedroom homes. We build starter homes as was the initial concept. And then persons will, over time, take their time and build out on these starter homes.
Stick up in. So yes, you are very correct, of course, about O.D. Ramtali's record of overseeing as minister the construction of houses. And you mentioned Greater Portmore, which of course is all true. However, at no point in this country's history has any administration built anywhere near 80,000 homes over the term of one government, which is 5 years. So even though you say you're going to go the starter home route, which is, of course, a smaller undertaking than a 2-3-bedroom house, this is still, by any measure, Lothan Cousins, highly ambitious.
Well, they have never had a Lothan Cousins before. So I'm sure he never had a Mark Jefferson Golding as Prime Minister. We will do what is necessary to get the wheels of government moving, to get the wheels of the NHT turning, to return the NHT and the housing agency to its core mandate, and to deliver houses to our people in record numbers.
But stay with me here. Stay with me here, because I said to myself, I want you to get the chance to address this, lest people leave believing that it is a trite promise from the PNP, this promise of 80,000 houses in 5 years. Because here's the thing. Even with the 11.4 billion drawdown, if that process is ended by the PNP administration, if you don't do that, even with those additional resources kept at home, the NHT's capacity to build houses will not increase, because it's not a case now where the $11.4 billion drawdown is a crimp on the NHT's ability to build houses. So I want you to give me something more, Lothan Cousins. 80,000 in 5. Very, very ambitious, never been done before, not even close to it. How is it that you perceive this to be successfully pursued by the administration? Give me something more.
One word, efficiency. Sometimes you may have an organization that is not performing because it is inefficient. We are saying that with the proper leadership, the proper guidance, I have a background in law, sports, construction. I know that we have what it takes to get it done. We have done it before. It's 16,000 units per year, broken down across the country. That is 1,000 units per parish. That's as simple as it is, you know. It might seem like a lot, but that's 1,000 houses per parish. You're telling me that in a modern dispensation, modern Jamaica, we can build 1,000 houses per parish? That if we can't do that, then surely I don't see what's the sense.
Yeah.
Right? You just break it down, you realize how simple it is. But then you look at the big number, you think, oh wow, that's a massive number. But per parish is 1,000 homes per parish per year.
But you would agree, though, Lothan Cousins, that there are other projects that the NHT currently has at various stages of development for which it has to pay attention. By September 30, say you are voted into office, you are sworn into office by October 3, a couple of days after the election, after you've won the election, I'm sure you're saying, and you go into office. With the number of projects the NHT already has on its docket to take on this very ambitious mission that you have set it, that I'm trying to reconcile the workload, the resource demands, and the window that you've set the NHT to get this project done.
Oh, I see where the error is. It's not just the NHT, my brother.
Yes.
It is also the Housing Agency of Jamaica.
But even they have projects on their docket as well.
Well, you see, you have to remember, that the Housing Agency of Jamaica has moved away also from its core mandate, and I spoke about it yesterday.
Yes.
And the Housing Agency used to provide what we call subsidized housing.
Yes.
And what it means is that the cost of the development is more than the value of what it passes on to the consumer,
yes,
which is the citizen. And that is why usually we have what we call a covenant on the title that says that the Minister of Housing has the first right of refusal, and that is there to prevent abuse.
Yes.
What I've seen is that has been lax. And I believe that with a more efficient HAJ together with the NHT working in tandem,
yes,
I believe we can move the dial significantly.
Yes.
St. Thomas is a new frontier. I believe that we can have that massive scaling out in St. Thomas similar to New Harbour Village.
Yes.
Because you see, we have dormitory communities in St. Catherine now, New Harbour. We can have the same type of thing out there in Albion, Yalla, St. Thomas.
Yes.
Where persons can hop on to the highway, come into Kingston and work and go back home.
Yes.
So even there alone could perhaps take up half of what we're talking about.
Hear you on that. Well, it's good to hear from you. It is always good for a political party to work to a plan. I'll say this to you, Lothan Cousins, as I wrap, that of all the things I've heard from the PNP on the campaign so far, I'm most excited by the housing revolution plan. I'm intrigued by it, even though I still believe that the housing, the unit, the target you've set yourself is highly ambitious, perhaps overly ambitious. But guess what? It's still a target to aim at. And I wish you all the best as you work to get yourself and your party in the position to pursue this plan.
Thank you, George. So if you aim for the stars, then you will fall on the clouds.
I hear you, my brother. Thank you very much for your time. All the best to you.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Lothan Cousins, the Member of Parliament for Southwest Clarendon, attorney at law.